the current Pope has passed away.
Yeah.
And so before you leave, we want to get your take on the new selection process of the Pope and what this process means, and even this idea of a black Pope coming into the fold.
Yeah, well, the Pope selection is a kind of a very political process. It's a very strange process that goes on really behind the scenes. The last time before this Pope passed away, there was another potential that there could have been a black Pope. And now there's a potential this time there could end up being a black Pope, a black man that's going to become a Pope. But whether or not it is a black person or not, I think it's kind of irrelevant. I kind of jokingly said, I wouldn't want to take that responsibility. I wouldn't want to take the popularity of being the first black Pope.
Yeah.
Just because, from my opinion and my research, what that religion stands for, Catholicism is, it's got very dark roots within the Roman civilization, the Roman Empire, the Papal Inquisitions, which were over the course of 700 years under the Pope's order, over 80 million people were tortured and slaughtered to bring in the good news in the religion. And I mean, it was a dark time. Right, so they would go to a place and they would subdue a village, and they would take the head of that village, and they would say, "You guys are going to take this religion. You're going to speak our language."
I mean, we can go here in the United States with the indigenous people,
the American Holocaust.
I mean, the Native Americans and what Catholicism did across this country. And
the American Holocaust was brutal. 111 million indigenous natives of the Americas slaughtered and killed over the course of 70 years.
Wow.
And they always want to talk about Hitler, but what about these two events? Now, you can go to Rome, and you can go to the museum, where they have the torture tools on display. So you can't question this. They're proud of these tools. They have the Pope's spear. You ever heard of that?
No, I haven't.
It looks like a pear-shaped object with a long spear pole coming out of it that they would insert into the woman's private part, and then it was spring-loaded, so it would pop open on the inside.
Well, if y'all couldn't see on camera, I just clenched it very tight. I know y'all could not see, but your girl it just got real tight in this chair, okay? Just know that.
That's one of their tools to bring you to Christianity. And when you see that happen to a woman, now all the women in the tribe are going to be like, you know what? We Christians now. We Catholics now. I'm sorry.
I mean, there is a show. I mean, and we are going to get into even this deeper discussion of the Pope. But there's a show that I love called 1923. I love the show 1923. Taylor Sheridan, we want you to come on the show. But he's the creator of 1923. And I will say that the show did a really good job at depicting history. And especially when it came to the Native Americans, indigenous people in this here North America, and when the children were taken to these schools. And the abuse
severe
that happened with these indigenous children in these schools, in these Catholic schools with these nuns. When you see it unfold, I feel like they did a really good job at depicting that history. They did it really well.
Yeah, it's real. I mean, the savages were treated horribly.
Oh, Jesus.
Now, they call the indigenous people savages, although they were living mostly in peace, unless they had a tribal dispute with another tribe.
Yeah.
Mostly living in peace, and the whole thing was to dominate, control, put the boot on the neck, and to monetize them. So here I am sitting under a tree with fruit. All I have to do is reach up and grab the fruit and eat it. Now you come, you take claim of that land that I'm on with the fruit tree. You build a structure there and make me work inside of it so I can have to now buy the fruit.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the whole trick behind it. And a lot of this abuse is mental because they're embedding it into the consciousness, and that's going into the RNA. They were very smart. They knew that torture would go into the body, and the next generation would be subdued and more easily controlled, and a generation after that, and a generation after that, that they would create this epigenetic bloodline of people that were ready to be dominated and controlled and ready to become slaves without even knowing they were going to be slaves.
I mean, but we saw it in the Native Americans, the indigenous people of this land. We saw it with the African people who were stolen and kidnapped and brought to this land. And so it is a cycle. And so we think about, and that goes back to our earlier conversation of religion. I mean, we can go to the slave castles, the slave dungeons on the western coast of Africa.
Oh yeah, Sierra Leone.
The church.
Yeah.
The church is on top of the slave dungeon.
Right there.
Yeah.
It's right there in the name of God. So what we're saying and what I've been saying for a long time is, again, I'm not against God. I'm not against Jesus. I just did a whole video about what I felt about Jesus and how I feel he's a template for mankind to usher in another level of Christ consciousness. See, I believe that the second coming isn't this man flying in on a cloud. I believe that the second coming is the Christ consciousness in our minds.
The renewing of our minds.
That's right, the renewing of our minds. And when we get enough people on that frequency, the whole world will shift overnight. It will be an instant, in the twinkling of an eye, this world will shift. We have to get the right number of people on that frequency. So it's just that my view or my understanding might be slightly different than other people's. I don't have the dogmatic understanding. I have a much more spiritual understanding, an understanding to me that really is much bigger than religion can ever be. I'm talking about on a universal scale, because everything we do here literally echoes into eternity.
For sure.
The butterfly effect of everything that happens here, everything we enact here, it affects everything throughout the known universe. And so it's much bigger than people even think, you know. And I don't take on the egotistical mindset that we're the end all be all of creation, that we're just the new kids on the block. And there's been so many other civilizations that have gone on and lived not only on this planet but even throughout the known universe. We're just one of who knows how many Googles of civilizations that have arose to this level, and it's up to us to understand, you know. But back to the Catholicism, it's just like the people who really run the world from behind the scenes. It's really somebody called the Black Pope, and this Black Pope is a super Jesuit. He's a super Jesuit general who goes in under this specific oath, which I have written out the oath and posted it online many times. But do you know that governments of the world can't go to war unless they get the approval from the Black Pope? The Black Pope controls who can go to war, who can't, controls economic decisions around the world.
So for people listening, because they're going to say this is the Black Pope.
Yeah. Not a black man.
Okay.
Not a black man.
I know it's going to be, he said,
No.
I know it's going to be some of y'all.
Not a black man.
Yeah.
They call him the Black Pope because he wears a black robe. His robe is black. It's always black. He's a super Jesuit general. Just anyone Google the super Jesuit general. That's one of the biggest controlling oligarchs of governments and economies from behind the scenes, pulling strings. Immense power, immense power. That's who's really one of the top controllers of what's going on in the world. Yeah.
So when you say controllers of what's going on in the world, I want you to dive a little deeper. What do you mean by controllers? When we talk about war, we talk about economy, we talk about pandemics, what are we talking about?
Which government is allowed to be one of the top governments? Which countries are going to be third world and stay third world and never have the opportunity to rise up? Which governments are going to politically go to war against each other, and how can they profit from both sides of that war? What information can be brought out through history books, through teachings, and through education that they can control and still hold their control over, so they can control the flow of information to the population, so they can control our minds? What level of teaching is going to happen in specific locations in the world that they can still control, and how to keep people's minds in the teaching style of being a prisoner versus being a creative person. All these things that are going on, they control even economics, are being done behind the scenes, and the Black Pope is one of the biggest controllers on the planet.
So basically what I'm hearing is it really don't matter who they pick.
Don't matter who they pick. This is why every 4 years I vote for myself. It's the same thing in America. Left wing, right wing, same bird, right?
Yeah.
Go down the voting line. When you get to the end, there's a guillotine there. And no matter what side you're on, your head's getting chopped off.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, presidents don't have that much control and power. Okay, they can put these tariff threats, and they can change the transgender laws, and they can. There's not a lot of power there. It's an illusion of a lot of power, but the president, no matter who he or she is, can't come to Florida, where I live, and say these new laws are going to be enacted today, and there's nothing you guys can do about it. Because the government going to say, "Man, get out of here! I don't hear nothing you telling me." This happened during the whole pandemic, right? You guys got to wear masks. Man, please, we ain't wearing no mask. Matter of fact, throw the mask in the garbage.
Florida and Georgia said, no, thank you.
No, thank you. We ain't doing that. You guys got to get this jab in your hand, in your arm. No, we ain't doing that. You guys got to do this. You got to do that. No, we ain't doing that. So the states have their own government and their own budgets and their own controlling force and their own laws. That's why you can't be a realtor in Florida and go be a realtor in another state without taking the test all over again to learn the new laws from another state. So presidents don't really have a lot of control over the states. They have the illusion of control. They have a federal level of control in certain areas, but they really can't dominate the entire country like we think they can. People say, well, I want this to happen. I want that to happen. Well, that's up to your governor. That's up to what your local politics. You can't. That's not going to happen from a presidential standpoint. And when you come to the understanding that that's what's going on, you begin to realize this is just a dog and pony show. And the thing you can do best for yourself is to learn how to become your own president. And so that's why every 4 years I vote for myself. I go down to the voting box. I write my name in the write-in ballot.
Do you?
Oh, yeah. And I took a picture of it, put it online every 4 years.
You write your name in the box every 4 years. I write my name in the box.
I spend the time to get in line and write my name in the box and become my own president.
I love that for you.
Yeah. And drop it in the box, and now I'm the president again. And guess what? I win every time. I literally win every time.
You absolutely do.
Can you imagine if everyone took on the mindset that they were the president and took on their own presidential ideas and concepts and what they would like to see for their community and became the president of their family and their communities? And then the change that they would then now be required to enact because they've taken this oath. I actually got on my YouTube account and did my own presidential oath, read my own oath.
I saw you did a whole campaign.
I did a campaign.
Yeah, a lot of content around your campaign.
Yeah.
I mean, for the person who's listening, though, because there is somebody who's listening to you and they say, oh, there he go with that, that crackpot stuff. There he go with that. There he go. Conspiracy theories. I don't believe him. I can't get behind it. That's that crazy talk about being the president of your own life and writing your name in the box. What do you say to that?
Well, they have been brainwashed. They've been brainwashed into believing that they have no power and that they need to give away their energy to an outside source to take care of them. They believe that they've got to believe in someone else that's going to come and fix all the problems within their local community, in their city, and even in the country, and maybe even in the world. So it creates this scenario of millions of people sitting back, kicking their feet up, watching the world burn, waiting for someone else to fix a problem that they're supposed to go and take care of themselves.
Yeah.
And that's what I can't get on that frequency. I cannot stand it. I see something wrong, I'm going to try to find out if I'm passionate about that thing, I'm going to find out how can I become the solution, collaborate with someone to be the solution, or find someone who knows the solution to the problem. If we had a country full of problem solvers instead of crybabies waiting on somebody to come fix all of our issues, we would be evolved 10,000 levels above where we are economically, spiritually, financially. The abundant level would be through the roof. Everything would be amazing here. This country would be a golden age going on right now if we took on that mindset. Now, people say, well, the so-and-so, Sally ain't doing it, and Ben ain't doing it, and Jimmy ain't doing it, so I'll wait for everybody else to get started. I don't got that kind of time. I start for myself. I can't worry about what everybody else is or not or isn't doing. For me, I'm going to do what I can do. And I know that little bit that I'm doing, it has an effect on the minds of people, and some people will join in with me and some people won't. But guess what? The ones that join in, they contact me all the time, and their lives are transforming like you wouldn't believe. And the ones who don't join in, they're stuck in the same old box, trying to figure out the same old things and worrying and crying and arguing about the same old politics every single day. While people are arguing about Trump and Clinton and Biden and all this kind of stuff, well, they're arguing who's doing what and who ain't doing what. Man, I'm just living my life.
Yeah.
And I'm free from that dogma. And I'm free from that because I had no belief and faith in those people from the beginning anyway.
Right.
I never put faith in those people. I put faith in myself.
If that blessed you, trust me, you've only scratched the surface. There's so much more wisdom, truth, and transformation waiting in the full conversation. Click the link in the caption below to watch the entire interview. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss an episode of Vault Empowers Talks.